When you and your management team have decided that it's time, you've got to reduce that supply chain risk and you're ready to make the investment and get control and proximity of that production back to North America, then there's a logical set of steps to go through, and it's really not much different from starting a new product from scratch. But obviously you've got some experience with your product and you probably have some of those products in hand. The way that usually works is we get some samples of those products from you. We put our engineering design resources on reverse engineering your own design so that we can get you a modern, workable design and bill of materials that can be sourced. Because oftentimes when you send a design to China, they're not building what you sent them. They're building a cost-optimized equivalent. It may have the same form, fit, and function of what you prescribed, but they're not using the brand name parts. And in some cases, they're using counterfeit parts, which can cause issues with customs. But when it comes back, you've got to get back into a bill of materials that a North American contract manufacturer can work with. Oftentimes we get bill of materials from Chinese providers and they're in Chinese, and this is not stuff that Google Translate handles well. So when you get that BOM, we go through that with you. We take any needed design updates into account. We work with our sourcing teams. So one of the first things we'll do is take the bill of materials you may have and one of your samples, and we'll work with our engineering design resources to begin to reverse engineer your own design. And it can be more challenging than it sounds because depending on how long you've been overseas, much of that BOM may have been replaced with alternative parts. You're still seeing the same form, fit, and function, and you're seeing some great cost optimization, but behind the scenes, the provenance of those parts can be questionable. And so we've got to get that bill of materials back into something a North American contract manufacturer can work with. We translate that Chinese as best we can back into English, and then we've got to find equivalent parts because oftentimes those parts are parts that you can only get in Guangzhou from a specific provider that they've outsourced to cost optimize those parts. We got to get you back into a manufacturer authorized normal part. The good news is there's enough savings elsewhere in the supply chain, especially if you're at the volumes that allow us to get you into a low-cost destination like Mexico, where you're still going to be cost equivalent in your landed costs. So this isn't as big a hit as it sounds cost-wise. Everybody thinks it's so much more expensive to come back from China, but it's not. But there is a cost of entry to get you back in. And then once that's in place, we work through those designs together and we begin prototyping, and we get you what hopefully is that same form, fit, and function, but now with all authorized parts and all sourceable in North America. So you have a reduced supply chain. The outcome of all this is that once we've done that work, you now have a design and a bill of materials in your possession that is tailor-made for North American production, and we're able to get you up and running. One of the most amazing things about the MacroFab platform, the software that our team has built, is that it understands the nuances in your design and what it takes to build it well. And at the same time, we're not relying on audits or on factory statements of what's possible. We're actually seeing built, finished goods, finished boards coming out of 87 factories. One of the coolest things about the MacroFab platform is that it understands your design. And on the backside, it understands which of our production lines is going to be best suited to build that design for you. And so it's looking at all the parts and how they're placed and where on the board they're placed and the density of the board and so many other things in order to understand what it takes to build that. And there's quantitative elements like, do they have a machine that has the right pitch capabilities? But there's also quantitative things that are hard to quantify. And did that factory do a good job of building boards like that? And did they do it on time? And so we're not relying on an audit or on some factory salesperson's statement. Our software knows how many times they were on time and how many errors they had on boards like yours. And so we're able to make your design along with the factory production line that's going to build that design best for you.